Yes, madam, start.
Good afternoon, students. Today we are going to do two very important concepts in the study of sociology. That is social structure and social system. To begin with, we'll do the first concept, which is social structure. How do we define social structure? Social structure is defined simply as patterned social relations. When we say patterned social relations, what do we mean by that? We mean that what are the relationships in the society, how society is patterned. If suppose somebody asks you what is the social structure of Indian society, we would say that the Indian society is structured around the caste system. That is what exactly it composes of. We can say that the Indian society is structured around the caste system. To explain further how the pattern social relationships exist or are seen, like for example, we say the caste system is such that the certain castes are placed above. There is a hierarchy. The hierarchy is such that the Brahmins occupy the top position, followed by the Kshatriyas, then the Vaishyas and the Shudras. So this is how the structure of the Indian society is. So what how do we actually see the structure, and what role do we see of the role of the structure? This has been explained very clearly by an anthropologist called Rattle Brown, who says that the functional emphasis is to see how the study is organized of social relations in order to maintain the structure which it is a part. That is, every society has got a structure. Within the structure, there are certain units, there are certain relationships which are which operate in such a manner in order to maintain the structure of the society. For example, the institution of marriage. Society is made up of various institutions, and one of the institution is the institution of marriage. uh, we see what exactly the role of the marriage is, and then how these relationships are patterned or maintained in such a manner in order to give a structure to the society or the structure to the institution of the society. Marriage involves the relationship between two groups. Then how do we maintain relationship? Marriage is a certain attachment. According to Ratcliffe Brown, marriage is a certain attachment and certain detachment from certain relations. That is, there is a certain attachment with certain relations, and there is a certain detachment from certain relations. So in order, and all this attachment and detachment creates lot of tension, it can create lot of stress, it can create lot of anxiety. In order to avoid that, the society has certain you can say practices, certain rituals, or certain ceremonies. Like for example, in marriage, we have certain ceremonies where the girl, uh, we have joking relationships where the bride's family hides the shoes of the groom, that is juta chupana. Or it could be said that the wife's sister is like a half wife. So these are the joking relationships. Why? Mainly because there is a potential sexual relationship quotations. So in order to avoid any kind of an anxiety or a stress, there is these joking relationships. On the other hand, there is an avoidance relationship between marriage, in a marriage relationship, such as an avoidance between the father-in-law and the daughter-in-law. Why? Because the Indian society teaches the values that the husband is the ultimate, the husband is supreme, he is the most knowledgeable, and in order to preserve that value or the the behavioral pattern, the relationship between the father-in-law and the daughter-in-law is such that she puts the parda, ghungat dal deti hai, avoid karti hai coming in front of the father-in-law. So this joking and avoidance relationship which has been described by Radcliffe Brown, shows that how marriage as an institution can create harmony between the relations, which are sometimes happens that you break away from one family and you enter into another family. It can create tension and anxiety. So in order to avoid that, there are mechanisms, rituals by which can be, their harmony or equilibrium can be created, and that way the structure of the society can be maintained. So in simple words, if you have to understand what is a social structure, they say that social structure is like a building block, what it is made up of, what it consists of a society. In other words, we can say the society consists of various institutions, and the various institutions make up what a society is, and that is what is the definition of a social structure. Now, there are other very important definitions which are very important for us to understand in order to get more clear about the understanding. So it basically refers to the social reality which influences our daily life. Social structure can also be seen as a way a society is organized into expected relationship. I just gave you the example of marriage. The other way of looking at it is that the structure refers to the patterns of organizations which describe the human behavior, which talk about the human behavior. Now, in order to make the definition more clear, I would say that the social structure can be compared, the definition, the meaning of the social structure can be easily understood by giving the example of comparing it with a living organism. And how do you compare it with a living organism? See, the way the living organism is divided into various parts, the society is also divided into various parts. The various parts of the society are its various institutions, where each institution performs a role. Like the body has different parts, and each part of the body performs a function. Also, it is related to the other parts. Say, for example, my hand is there. I have two hands, and these two hands are sticking to my body, and they're giving a shape to my body. Two, they're helping me to keep a balance. And whatever I do with my hands do an independent job, but whatever I do with my hands, they are coordinated. They are coordinated by my mind. So they are coordinated by my mind. So that becomes very important for us to understand that the social structure can be easily explained of a society by referring to the organic structure of a body. So the way the body is divided into various parts, similarly the society is also divided into various parts. Now, very important for us to understand is also what is the role, that is, what are the characteristics of a social structure. A social structure is created from the interrelationships and organization of human beings who are organized for pursuing certain common objectives and aims. To fulfill the aim, the social structure must be based upon certain principles, and they are as follows. Right? And what are these? These are A, the normative system, which means that every society has certain norms. Every society has certain norms. Norms are behavioral patterns. मतलब how to behave, किस तरह से आपको behave करना चाहिए. That is what is the normative system. Norms, behavior, what ought to be done, what should be done. So what we say is that every institutions are related to various associations, are or within every institutions they are individuals, and these individuals perform their roles accordance with the accepted norms of a society. So they are institutions. Institutions is made up of certain rules and regulations which are followed by certain individuals, and these individuals have certain norms to be guided from, or they are prescribed norms, the way in which they have to behave, and they behave accordingly, because every individual occupies a different position in the society. He occupies a different roles in the society. He has different value systems, and in accordance to that, he behaves as an individual. Position, as I said, that it's related to the status which you occupy. It's related to the position which is sanctioned to you. Every individual occupies more than one status in the society. Like, for example, I have a status of being a teacher, I have a status of being a wife, I have a status of being a mother, I have a status of being a woman, I have a status of being a friend. So what happens is that periodically I shift my positions, and in each of these positions I behave in a particular manner, because there are certain roles which are prescribed as per the position which I am occupying. So this way, what happens is the social structure is maintained. The social structure is maintained because of the way in which I behave, the position which I occupy, and the kind of sanctions which are accorded to me. Sanction means a prescribed rewards, good or bad. That is, or good or bad means something which is seen as a reward, or something which can be seen as a punishment. Because, for example, if a man commits a crime against a woman, he is punished. So there is a sanctioning system, and because of that punishment, I do not behave in a manner which is not considered to be proper. So my behavioral pattern, my way of interaction, my way of interacting, my way of occupying a particular position in the society is all governed by the society at large, and that is the way in which the social structure is maintained. There is a system of anticipated response. What do we mean by this? This means that what happens is there's always a fact that they say that, it is there are directions being given. There are certain kind of moral ethics which are placed on you. There are certain kind of codings which are given there. So there are certain ways in which the individuals have pointed out that you have to behave in a particular manner. Say for example, we often, when we are walking on the street, we say Beti Badhao, Beti Bachao slogans. We hear that slogans. Then we also say that the city is yours, keep it clean. Like a kind of an imposition being given on you that you need to behave in a particular manner. So your behavior, your actions, your norms, your positions, your sanctions, all these help to maintain equilibrium in the society, to maintain a consensus in the society, and in other words, or in the direct way, it helps you to maintain the social structure. That is, society has got a structure, and that structure can be maintained if the individuals abide by the norms, the values, and the prescribed orders in the society. So this is very clearly, I hope you have understood what do we mean by social structure. Social structure, I repeat, can be seen as building blocks, what it is made up of, what a society is made up of. A society is made up of various institutions, and if you have to understand more clearly, you can compare a society to a living organism, and they say that the way the living organism is divided into various parts, society is also divided into various parts, that is the various institutions. And it becomes very important, the individuals who occupy the society should be able to abide by certain norms, certain values, certain behavioral patterns so that they can give a structure, or they can maintain the structure, or they can maintain the equilibrium in the society. Now, depending upon all these, the social structure can work successfully or can be maintained. Now, very close to the concept of social structure is the concept of social organization. What is organization? Organization is the arrangements of persons or parts. Organization asserts that there is a coordination of social relationships. While social structure includes positions and some rules along with social relationships, organization is that when a people consciously come together, uh, follow certain set patterns of rules and regulations to achieve a goal. That is, like for example, churches, college, you can have political organizations, you can have educational organizations, you can have social organizations. What are these organizations? These organization is, that is the coordinating of various social relationships. People come together, coordinate with each other, understand each other's goals, understand each other's desires, and try to achieve a common goal. And these organizations are very, very important for any society. Now, if there are organizations in the society, then the social structure can be maintained well, because within a social structure there are many organizations, and there are of course two different concepts, because organization asserts the coordination of social relationships, while social structure includes position and some rules along with social relationships. I repeat here, this is very important. Though social organization is studied or closely seen in relation to the social structure, but the two concepts are different. The concepts are different because they lay emphasis on two different points, such that the organization asserts on the coordination of social relationship. That is, I have to coordinate with another person in order to achieve. Say, for example, there is a political organization. The political organization decides to work for eradicating all sorts of violence against women. So then what happens is, they all have to come together, formulate certain rules and regulations, and say that we have to be abiding by this, and we have to understand that your goal and my goal is the same, that is eradication of violence, and come together to formulate an action plan to achieve that. That is what is a organization. While social structure includes different positions, it could be more of a subjective. Why? Mainly because the social structure is the outline, and it includes position, it includes some roles along with social relationships. So this is the way in which we have to understand the differences or the main thing between the two. Now, coming back to the important aspect about the basis of social structure. What do you mean by a base? That is, what is the fundamental line? What does the social structure deal with? It deals with the interconnectedness between its parts. As a result, the society is able to function in a harmonious manner, as I just mentioned earlier to you. And what are the various building blocks? The various building blocks are institutions, associations, groups, organization, communities, and all these are part of a social structure. To understand the function of the social structure, it is important for us to analyze its basis. The base is a need to pursue a goal. The first is a need to pursue a goal. That is, every society has a goal. Human beings who are a part of the society have diverse attitudes, diverse interests, and they are all pursuing and going in different directions. But what becomes very important is that they all have to understand that they have a goal, that is a goal of maintaining a family, goal of maintaining the equilibrium in the society, a goal of maintaining the family structure, kinship systems, etc. So therefore, all the members are interrelated to each other for realizing this goal, and the goal could be the family happiness, the goal could be wealth generating, the goal could be moving forward in life, the goal could be educational goal, could be that to spread the knowledge, to make the knowledge available to all. So the structure of the society is created in such a way that the individuals are able to achieve and attain that goal. So therefore, need to pursue a goal is one of the important bases of social structure. Then, preparedness to accept one's role and status. It is very important that every individual or every institution or every part of a society and should be able to understand what their role is and accordingly occupy a position and perform, because role and status are relational. And if I'm occupying a status of a teacher, I know what the role of a teacher is, that how I should behave, and accordingly I start behaving myself. That's very important. Then also, say for example, in a particular society, a particular individual like a doctor is there, and he has a role to perform of a doctor, and then he happens to be realizing that one day he is operating on his son, and there the conflict can come between the father and the doctor, but then he should be able to understand that when he's standing there as a doctor, he should be able to perform the role of a doctor and not the role of a father. So that kind of an understanding should be there, and the society helps you to prepare. That is, it helps you to train yourself to occupy to these different roles and occupy these different positions. And accordingly, the social institutions are also structured. Very important is the norms and the modes. Norms are the socially approved ways of behavior. Norms define the role of an individual. Norms play a very important role in allocating certain roles and positions to the members of the social structure. As I said, that individuals occupy different positions, accordingly their roles are designed, and accordingly they perform a role. So this is very, very important, and this way what happens is that each family has certain set norms, each family, each society has certain prescribed norms. Like for example, the Indian society is very different from the American society. The Indian society very different from the within India. The South Indian society or the South Indian family would be very different from the North Indian family. So that differences is very much visible, and that differences can be seen in the way in which the individuals perform their roles and positions. But however, it should all be in consensus with the norms and the positions which are accorded by the society, so that the structure of the society can be maintained. The structure of a society is maintained with the help of the individuals who are interrelated in order to perform a role or a goal. So I hope you have understood the first basic concept of social structure of today. Thank you. I take a break here. ठीक है? Is it okay? Okay. I just take a break here.
Hello?
ठीक है?
हेलो हेलो
हेलो, ठीक है, ठीक जा रहा है.
हाँ मैम ओके ओके कंटिन्यू
Okay, thank you. Now we shift to another very important concept of today, that is the social system. Now, a system is made up of different parts. What exactly is a system? System is an orderly arrangement of constituent units. That is, there are various parts which are interrelated and it forms a system. Now, instead of, the parts within a structure can be seen as a system. Now, so system means an orderly, as I said, that system means an orderly arrangement of constituent parts. In brief, what are the main features of a system? The main features of a system are a system is made up of different parts. There must be a systematic relationship between the parts. Arrangement of these parts should create a pattern. There is a functional relationship among the parts of a system. That is, all parts create a new entity when they are functionally related. Now, this example or this whole concept of social system is very clearly explained by Talcott Parsons, one of the famous sociologists, who says that a system is a unified whole made up of interdependent parts called subsystems. And each subsystem can also be treated as a system by itself. Say, for example, society, instead of looking at society as a whole, he says a society or a social structure, he says that please look at society and use the word called system for a system, social system. And system, because society is made up of various parts, and these various parts are its various institutions. And each institution is interrelated, and therefore it becomes very important that each institution or each system is further subdivided so that there is a proper arrangement or a proper interaction and an understanding of the society as a whole. He further says that there is a structural condition, that is, the units must be organized in a relatively stable manner so that a definite pattern of relationships come to be existing between the systems. That is, there should be a kind of a organized relationship, an organized pattern, an organized interaction. And each system has a boundary. That is, say for example, there is an economic system. The economic system has a role, like it performs the functions of production, distribution and consumption, but it has also got a boundary. That is, it is governed by certain economic laws, it is governed by certain kind of an ideology, it is certain kind of rules and regulations, and that is a kind of a boundary. And then then he says the system by its very nature can be dynamic, because what is today may not be tomorrow, and because individuals change, the society changes, society moves from simple to complex, so therefore the social structure changes. The structure remains the same, but the system can change, parts can change, relationships can change. So therefore there is a possibility that the way in which the constituent, the parts are made, they can be changed. Of course, one is very important for us to understand that more or less the structure is quite stable, and the social structure remains more or less in a very defined and a definite pattern, though it comprises of number of institutions. Institutions may change its character, and institution may grow, institution may change, and they may interact with one another for a definite purpose. So that's how we try to understand the whole concept of social structure and social system. Now, as I said, that social system is based on the interaction plurality of individuals, that is the number of individuals who are interacting with one another. Now, what is important for us to understand is the characteristics of social system. The characteristics of social system is very quickly, social system is based on the interaction of plurality of individuals. The interaction must carry a meaning, that there should be an understanding, there should be a meaning, there is a unity, and exists a functional relationship between the parts of the social system. As I mentioned, that the economic system, for example, there is an economic system. The economic system carries out the functions of production, distribution, and consumption. It should know that there are producers, there are consumers, and between the producer and the consumers, they are distributors. And each one has got a function, a role to perform. That is very, very important. Like a family, the family is made up of individuals who are related to one another in different positions, father, mother, brothers, sisters, like that. And they all know that they have to have a certain kind of in relationships, a certain kind, follow certain kinds of rules and regulations, like the relationship between the two generations is one of respect and authority. And with this kind of an understanding, they should be able to follow the rules in order to achieve the family happiness or family growth. So there has to be a unity, and there has to be an understanding of a common goal. And so then very important is for us to understand the basis of social system. The basis of the social system is, of course, belief and knowledge. Uh, Belief and knowledge. Any proposition about any aspect of the universe that is accepted as true may be called a belief. And belief is the basis for social action. You need to have a belief in order to perform. You should be able to understand what you need to perform. A knowledge should be there, an understanding should be there, and then only you can perform. So strong sentiments are very essential, because sentiments are, of course, are also very closely related to your beliefs. What we feel, what we do, what can be done, what should be done is very important. The sentiments can be of various types. It can be intellectual, ethical, religious sentiments. Sentiments have backgrounds like historical, cultural, but all is very, very important that we should have certain sentiments. So what am I trying to tell? I'm trying to say that to understand the meaning of social system, we also need to understand the basis of social system, the basis of social system. And the basis of the social system are, as I said, A, belief and knowledge, B, sentiment. Belief is what exactly your thought process is. Then third, or C, is goal or objective. Now, objectives create social system. That is very important, because members, along with relevant social structures of a social system, expect to accomplish a particular end or objective through appropriate interaction. So the human needs, goals, ends determine the social system. Primarily, we all know that the human beings are united with each other because they all need to fulfill their basic goals, basic needs of life, like food, clothing, shelter. So it's very important for them to understand, to achieve their basic goals. Norms, as I mentioned earlier, are standards of what is right and wrong, how a purpose should behave, what is appropriate behavior, what is inappropriate behavior. So every social system possesses norms which the individuals are obliged to observe. So every social system, I repeat, possesses certain norms which the individuals are obliged to observe. Status and role. In a social system, each individual has a status. The status maybe ascribed, maybe achieved. Ascribed status means a status which he is born with, like you're born into a caste system, you are born into a particular class. So that is your ascribed. Achievement is that when you study, when you educate yourself, you attain certain objectives, certain goals, and you occupy a certain status in the society. So status and roles are very important basis of social system. Role is a dynamic aspect of a status. That is, role tells you on the basis of what status you are occupying, how to behave. Ranks, every individual is ranked in a society. In every society, there are certain positions, certain ranks which individuals occupy. And like for example, uh, in the Indian society, the social ranking is as per your caste ranking, to caste to which you belong to. Your social ranking is as per the caste to which you belong to. The economic ranking could be the amount of wealth you are able to generate, the amount of income you are able to earn. So ranking is very, very important and essential, and it happens. Every society has different ways of ranking their individuals, and the ranking order is very, very prescribed and important. And it becomes very important for evaluations. And evaluations are always important in a society, for a society to be competitive, for a society to generate interactions, for a society to be dynamic. Because no society is static and every society is dynamic, and the society changes as per the changes in its uh, belief system, status, roles, ranks, power, sanction, etc. So these are very important bases of social system. Next, very important one is power. Most of us often feel that even though we vote and send a politician to power positions, we actually do not matter to them in case of many decisions. But remember, power refers to the capacity to control. And state and politics systems are your expressions of certain power. So it is very important for the individual to exercise power, because power is an ability to change the outcome of an event. It is a capacity, it's an ability to change the outcome. So power becomes very, very important, and is a very important expression, and it is also is a very important base of social system. Then sanctions, as I said, refers to rewards and punishments. They refer to penalties which a society accords or gives. So individuals are induced into conforming, or rather in abiding by certain norms and ends, and sanctions can be both positive and negative. The negative sanction is, for instance, you can say death penalty to eliminate, that is to completely eradicate, or punishments can be negative sanctions. Positive sanction is that rehabilitations, that is you try to rehabilitate a person, you try to teach a person, and you try to help a person to understand his mistakes and re-equip him with actions, or re-equip him with certain kind of norms, so that he becomes a part of the social systems again. So rehabilitations could be one way of looking at as a positive sanction. Then of course the facilities. The facilities are the means which the society provides to attain ends. Every society has certain means, has certain facilities which it gives to its individuals, so that the individuals are able to attain their goals. Facilities could be seen in terms of educational facilities, transport facilities. It could be occupational facilities, so that individuals are able to realize, and individuals are able to perform, are able to occupy the positions and the goals, to attain their goals which they desire. So in brief, I have discussed the basis of social system. So in all, today we have learned two very important concepts, the concept of social structure and the concept of social system. Very quickly, if we have to go and understand what we have done today or what have we learned today, one, the social structure is the way a society is organized into expected relationships. The way in which, that is, the American society is structured around the class system. The social structure of an American society is the class structure. That is the way the class is there. That is the way people interact with one another. They interact in terms of the class. In India, we can say that the social structure is the caste system. So the way in which the individuals relate to one another is the caste system. Then social structure is concerned with the principal forms of social organization, that is the types of groups, associations and institutions. We said that the chief characteristic of social structure are normative system, positive system, system of sanctions and system of anticipated responses. System means an orderly arrangement of constituent units. System refers to the arrangement of constituent, refers to the arrangements of constituent organizations. The basis of social structure are the need to pursue a goal, preparedness to accept one's roles and status, norms and modes.